How's it going, locomotive enthusiasts around the world? My name is The Godfather, and I am your experienced Train Sim World 2 driver, and this is our latest Train Sim World 2 information update for the roadmap for May 2022. It's a blockbuster of a roadmap. There is tons of information that is going to be provided for you guys right here, right now.
This month's roadmap is a bit of a monster, providing updates on, and some screenshots for Spirit of Steam, Bakerloo timetable improvements, the DBBR 187, and Creators Club logo decals. We also feature updates on some meatier subjects, such as our save game, Xbox audio, console betas, and red light issues. What's changed this month? Whilst we focus on fine-tuning Spirit of Steam and core game improvements, we've added a new US route to our roadmap. Full details will come in future articles, as it is in very early stages of development. The German route announced last month is also in its early stages, so we have not provided additional information at this stage. We've also added a new entry to the preservation cruise list, Bakerloo timetable improvements.
Now, just a little pause on the roadmap here for a second, guys, because I like to give a little bit of a speculation here for what they were just talking about with the early stages of development for the new announced US route and the route that was announced in the April roadmap of the German route. Now, I've got a bit of a speculation. Now, they're saying that both of these routes are now apparently in early stages of development. I can only think that this could be potentially two routes for the core update for this year's Train Sim World 2 core update. So, not 100% guaranteed, but if we get a UK announcement of a route in next month's roadmap, then it is more than likely that this is the core update, but only speculation. Let's continue with the roadmap.
As we mentioned in last month's roadmap stream, after Spirit of Steam has been released, we want to take some time to review the high-profile issues we've seen reported by the community, some of which are discussed below, and release the remaining preservation crew updates. So the roadmap for the next couple of months is unlikely to move significantly in terms of Dovetail games releases. Development updates. Spirit of Steam. Spirit of Steam is progressing nicely, and we wanted to share some screenshots with you as seen in this information update here on the Godfather's YouTube channel Australia Worldwide Gaming. By the way, do subscribe today to his channel and help him get to 2,000 subs by the end of the year. Creators Club logo decals. We promised you an update on logo decals due to be added to Creators Club in the future. Here is our current list of approved logos, which we're aiming to release soon. As ever, we're continuing to work with our licensed partners to unlock future opportunities, so there may be more added at a later date. We'll also be sneaking in a Train Sim World 2 logo as well for you to rep your favorite train simulator on your liveries. Avanti West Coast. Govia, Thameslink. MDV. Network West Midlands. NRM, Flying Scotsman. NRM, GWR. Railpool. RHB, Rathistban. TFL, TFL. TFL, Underground. TFL, Overground. TFL, Southern. UP, Union Pacific. UP, Building America. VTG Rail. VVO. West Midlands Railway. DBBR 187. Now that Horseshoe Curve, and last week's post-release patch have been released, the Skyhook Games team have been continuing their work improving the BR 187, based on your feedback. Their initial focus is safety systems, primarily their functionality and audio, with a view to addressing audio, which is proving a more complicated improvement, further down the line. These improvements need to be tested and put into an update, so as of yet we have no dates, but work is ongoing. Bakerloo timetable improvements. Preservation crew updates continue to be worked on, with our next batch of releases set to hit around the time spirit of Steam releases. Excitingly though, we're adding a new entry into the roadmap, the long-awaited Bakerloo timetable improvements. We previously stated that we needed 4 improvements within our current tool set in order to make this a reality. Whilst at this point only 3 of those have been completed, the team have managed to identify a way to improve the timetable without this final piece of the jigsaw. These improvements are now ready for testing. We will provide more information at a later date, but you can expect over 600 playable services to be added to a new timetable for the route. Save game. We wanted to take some time to talk about the long-standing issue with the Train Sim World 2 save game, where in some instances players are unable to proceed with routes after saving their game. We'll speak about this in tonight's live stream, but here is a quick summary of the problem, and the challenges we face in improving it. It is important to note that, whilst we don't have any answers for you at this stage, it is something we are actively investigating. First up, let's set the scene. Rather than being a singular issue, save game doesn't work turns out to be a potential multitude of different things. Fundamentally, when you save your game, the goal is that all elements of the game state are saved, such as where all the trains are, where they're going, how fast, what state all the controls are in on the player locomotive, and so forth. What has been happening instead is that there is an issue with the save/restore process for the dispatcher, where trains that restore after you've saved mid-service are managing to come up with different priorities, different paths, and so forth. This can result in situations no longer working, e.g. the train behind somehow getting a path ahead of the train in front, and you're now unable to complete said service. We've been investigating for a while the extent of the problem. Initial reviews have found that most of the Train Sim World 2 locos tend to restore without issue. Some will load in with 1 or 2 issues that manifest rather more significantly. Fixing this has a range of solutions needed. At the easy end of the spectrum it can be as straightforward as ticking a box to mark something for saved data, but at the other, we will need to redo scripting to make the game cope with resuming partway through, and these have many knock-on effects for other content which is currently working as intended. The nature of these more complex, risky fixes, especially involving the dispatcher, that touch all areas of the game is going to involve core changes to resolve. There are then per locomotive changes to resolve any save/restore issues on a case-by-case basis, such as solving the issues involved with Horseshoe Curve save game last week, which was a relatively trivial improvement by comparison. Beyond that, there's then going to need to be more investigation in scenarios to ensure that they are persisting all their data correctly, but we haven't fully tested that side of things yet. That hopefully provides more context as to the extent of the issue. Initial investigation is underway, but this is by no means a simple fix/fixes, and at this stage we cannot commit to large-scale improvements. Console Beta, S. As part of our ongoing drive to improve the quality of our releases, we are delighted to report that we now have around 20 Xbox players who are now running a version of the core game that will launch when the Steam release goes out, featuring improvements that touch all routes, and are doing this across a variety of different Xbox devices. We do this to try to mop up any potential issues we may see as these changes interact with other routes. Getting beta testers introduced has worked well and we're getting great feedback, so here's a big thank you to everyone who volunteered and is participating. As we settle this down and refine the process, we'll begin looking at how we can start testing future add-ons as well, but this is a big step forward already. When we're looking for more volunteers to help, we will let you know. We have no progress to report yet on PlayStation Beta Access. We're going to finish the process of getting everything working on Xbox first, and then start looking at PlayStation. We'll let you know when there is news on that front. Priority improvements. PS5 DLC limit. Work continues with this complex issue. The system we have been building, which has been given the green light by Sony, provides mounted add-ons in the game's backend, meaning that, in any one game session, players will only access the content they have chosen to play/mount. By way of a progress update, we've built the route and loco selection side of the tool, as well as livery editor, with the final pieces of the jigsaw, scenario planner, and creators club, being worked on now. These then need to be tested thoroughly before release. We expect testing to start this month. We appreciate your patience as we've worked with Sony and built this functionality. There were quick fixes that we could have been implemented, but this is a longer-term solution for our PS5 players designed to provide an improvement that doesn't impact your game experience, rather than kicking the problem down the road, or having to select yourself which content you'd want to activate each time you play. It's important to note that this new system will be implemented across all platforms, so we expect this to not be an issue for any future platforms. Xbox Audio. Work continues on rebuilding a new Xbox audio engine, which is the required fix to improving the jackhammer sound issue. The good news is that we are hoping to test a first prototype build of this any day now. The testing will confirm whether this approach resolves the issue, but, to be clear, this doesn't mean that a resulting fix will be imminent. Once we have the prototype, and have proved the issue is resolved, we can then start doing performance testing on it, in order to verify if it's going to stress the already tight memory conditions on Xbox, and if so, start to look at what our options are for resolving that. Finally, we'll by this time have an understanding of what's involved to reflect the changes to the wider catalog of Train Sim World 2, and then we'll be in a position to estimate a release date. Before that time though, we will come back to you all with updates as we test the prototype. It'll be a huge milestone just to confirm that it does indeed fix the issue, and we will then be on to the tedious, but very important, practical issues around making it available. Dispatcher/red light issues. We launched an update earlier this month, specifically targeting issues players were experiencing on the Harlem line. Whilst it fixed some services, it's become clear that some services are still incompletable, especially those approaching Grand Central Terminal. We will be continuing to work through these, to release as future patches. Thank you for all your feedback on further red light issues, as we know there are similar issues, particularly on rush hour routes. We are investigating the options available to us, whether we approach on a route-by-route basis, or if there is a wider core dispatcher issue we can work on to improve this across multiple routes simultaneously. We've opened up a form on forum thread for you to submit any similar issues you've experienced, so we can understand the extent of the issue, and better isolate the problem. Thanks for your help. Returning liveries, Xbox. We have a fix in the works for those Xbox players who lost access to their created liveries and scenarios in Creators Club last month. This is going through testing now, and we anticipate, all being well, it will go live alongside other core updates when Spirit of Steam launches. Performance improvements. Work continues, and we hope to spend some time after Spirit of Steam releases focusing on improvements to performance, particularly on rush hour routes. You'll note that rush hour passengers on London Commuter has been on the roadmap for some time, and this is because we want to improve the current performance on the route before putting additional strain on your game. May 2022 roadmap details. These are forthcoming add-ons that are being developed by Dovetail Games. Where details are still being finalized for a release, we are including the ID code for it when possible. This will give you a good idea of what to expect. To see what these ID codes mean, you can refer to this post. GAAR501 Spirit of Steam, Liverpool Lime Street, crew with LMS Jubilee class LMS Stanier class 8F. German route. New US route. These are forthcoming add-ons that are being developed by teams outside Dovetail Games. Where details are still being finalized for a release, we are including the ID code for it when possible. This will give you a good idea of what to expect. To see what these ID codes mean, you can refer to this post. DBBL501 DBBR420 Electric Multiple Unit, Hauptstrecke München Augsburg, developed by TSG. Core features are larger projects. These may be significant new pieces of functionality or changes that will affect players on one or several different platforms. Often requiring more time in development, this list may move more slowly than others. Approved licensed brand decals for the livery designer. PlayStation 5 add-on limit fix. PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 profile transfer. Projects that players will notice but don't fall into one of the other categories. Dovetail Live Rewards. Rush Hour Passenger System for London Commuter. Red Light/Dispatcher improvements across multiple routes, starting with rush hour routes and Harlem Line. Projects that are being tackled by the preservation crew. Many of these upgrades will simply be adding the latest game functionality to an older route. The additions or changes in the upgrade will include some or all of the following: station departure boards, animated crossings, platform climb-up functionality, improved track rendering, rush hour passenger density and appearance, support for rail driver, contact signaler functionality, minor fixes to scenery, minor fixes to audio, minor fixes to gameplay, minor fixes to menu items, livery designer compatibility and scenario planner expansion. This month, we have included a scale of the size of the work/features put into the update, but we'll go into more detail about what will be included in each of these releases in tonight's stream. Medium Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr. Large Ruhr-Sieg Nord. Large Great Western Express. Medium Rapid Transit. Medium Northern Transpennine. Tiny Scottish Commuter. Tiny Hauptstrecke Hamburg-Lübeck. Medium Rhein-Ruhr-Ossen. Tiny West Somerset Railway. Small new 2022 Bakerloo Timetable, 600 plus services. Small Long Island Railroad. Huge Peninsula Corridor. Huge Oakville Subdivision. Tiny LGV Mediterranean. Items that have been removed from the roadmap. This is either because they have been completed, their status having changed, or the project having been suspended. NDDR 703 Horseshoe Curve, Altoona, Johnstown South Fork with ES44 ACGP 38-2, developed by Skyhook Games, complete Z.
Alright, there we go. A lot of detail there for you guys. And we're showing you guys some of the screenshots for the Spirit of Steam there along the way as well, folks. And also, we showed you some screenshots that I've been taking over recent months as well there along the way. So we hope you did enjoy those screenshots that we provided along the way on that a massive talk that we have had for this month's mega blockbuster roadmap. It is certainly getting very exciting. But as I did explain to you guys when we had the pause, the US and German routes are in early stages of development, and me speculating, saying that it could be a part of this year's big core update later this year. It could possibly be true, because they said that they're going to take a few months to work with a lot of the issues that have been happening with the game. So after the release of Spirit of Steam. So I can only really think, and they already said that there won't be much movement from Dovetail themselves. That is a big possibility that they could be a part of the core update. So that's why I'm speculating that we could get a UK route announcement again next month. But only time will tell. And I've been involved with Train SimWorld for many, many years now. And I can possibly say that I'm very confident that what I'm saying could be true. But as I said, speculation. So we will have to just wait and see what happens in the future of this amazing railway simulator. So anyway, that's it. The roadmap for 2022 May. Thank you very much for watching.